Hey everyone, it's Paige with The Paige Show. I hope you love what you're watching or listening to today. Don't forget to share the love, follow us on social media, subscribe where you can, and go to thepaigeshow.com where you'll find some of my favorite things. If you believe in the power of crystals to heal from the inside out, then check out Gem Water, crystal-infused water bottles, and maybe one of my favorite things will become your favorite thing too. Today is all about self-help. 7 things that I do on a daily basis or in my life, tools in my toolbox to help ground myself, refuel myself. I gotta refuel this driver for the journey, right? 7 things that I think may help you as well when you're feeling low on energy, if you need to be replenished or just grounded on a daily basis because your life is insane, whatever that might be. Hopefully some of these tips can speak to you and help you as well. Some of the easiest ones to start with would be a bath. I love bath time. I've always loved water, so any chance I get to be in water, it's I'm there. I'm all in, right? And bubble bath is great. You can use essential oils. I love lavender for all of the reasons. Just my life path, my chart, so many things lead in my sign, Gemini, all of those things lead to lavender really being my thing, my plant, my oil. I use it with a lot of things. It just really serves me well. Overall, it's great for relaxation. If it does nothing else for you, it's amazing. And a bath, a bubble bath, so you kind of feel surrounded. The bubbles can feel like a nice warm hug. Right? And so setting your stage with a bath, having candles going for yourself, making that a time that is romantic for you, even if no one else did it for you. You're showing yourself your own love. We gotta love ourselves first, right? And so bring in the bath time, make it all special for you. All of you friends, fans out there, I love it. It's my go-to show for happiness. And you know, there's a wonderful scene with or episode where Monica is making Chandler a bath, and all of a sudden Chandler realizes how awesome baths are, and she starts with like a little boat so it feels like a boy bath. So to all you guys out there, if you need to get a boat to make it feel like a boy bath, do it. But trust me, the healing abilities of water and whatever you put in the water, I throw crystals in there sometimes. I definitely always have bubbles. I always have some kind of essential oil. It makes people feel like they're gonna bust their ass if they get in the shower after I've taken a bath. All of those things apply. Whatever you gotta do, put a boat in there to make yourself feel good. But try to tap into the beauty of baths. And so I will set the stage. I'll have music playing sometimes, and you know, headphones or just playing. I've set the atmosphere for myself in the bath. It's my time. Nobody's interrupting it and no one's joining it, right? It's just me. There's a time and a place for that. So baths do wonders for me. All you water signs, water loving people, you probably can be with me on this one. I'm sure you see me on this one. And then books. I got some B's here. Bath, book, and bed. And a bedtime, right? Sounds like you're getting your kids ready for bed. Well, there's a reason why that works well with children too. All of our minds need that signal, that ritual to say it's time to clock out. It's time to calm the mind. So it works for adults as well. We just sometimes forget that we're adults and we're not too good for that. So bath, and then a book, and then bed. Oftentimes, if you are a reader, you'll understand reading right before bed can be the best and the worst. If it's a book that you really love, you're struggling to keep your eyes open. Otherwise, you're reading and you're probably falling asleep. It's a great way to immediately check out. Not only are you checking out of this world, like you can kind of like get lost in the beauty of a book, but you can also just like check out. Something happens with your brain and it tells you, you know, it's time to relax. We're shifting gears, and a lot of people will just fall asleep and have really good rest, like deep sleep. off the end of a book. All right, so reading book time right before bed is amazing if you like to read. If you don't, then clearly that's not speaking to you, but I love to switch it up with the reading. I always like to say this: don't always make it a self-help book, okay? I'm even doing this post and telling you that. I tell you throughout the Paige show that it's important to enjoy the human experience, and this is another example of that. We are supposed to enjoy the human experience. So like, delve into some other things. Find out what else you might like. Is it that really gritty, you gotta hide it under your pillow or in a safe kind of romance novel, right? Some of us all need that. Is it science? Like, I do that with my mind because I would, as much as I'm intrigued with science, I love science, I would fall asleep real quick with that. So, you know, depending on the day, I might pick that to help myself fall asleep faster. But overall, this is like a me time, an enjoyable time. So I'm wanting to pick something that I can read when it's just me and nobody's interrupting. And I try to make that time not about self-help, because I get enough of that during the day, like for my own work that I gotta do, and then everything that I'm doing as my, you know, purpose or passion or job, whatever you want to call it, right? Just being a mom, like at the end of the day, you are giving out like all the advice, all the words, they're just done, right? So disappear in a book and make it a fun book. Make this a time where it's fun for you. Okay, and then we're talking about bed. So we're not just talking about bedtime, like night bedtime, but trying to catch those naps. So like, clearly if we're working, we can't really nap, but we always have a lunch break, right? And so I remember when I was balancing it all of this, and I was trying to continue my profession as a dental hygienist, you know, I was through maybe 5 patients of the day before lunch even became a possibility. So I understand the professional world and being busy with all that. And when lunch came, I would usually want to like eat in my car. Like I was lucky, most of my career was in beautiful Colorado, so even if it snowed, you know, the sun was always shining. It was all of the things. You can hear in my voice the energy of that beautiful state. That is my, you know, heart and core of me. And it is just amazing if you take that little time, like if you just say, this is my only chance of a midday break, no matter how busy your profession is. If you don't get a full lunch, if you get little breaks here or there, take them when you can. And if you can, just get that quick like 10-15 minute cat nap in, whether you go out listening to music, or that's a time where you read, do some of the other things we talked about, right? If you're working from home, you maybe could even like fit in the bath time. If you're really stressed out, your mind's full of those sticky notes, maybe your lunch break consists of a quick snack, and then you jump in the tub and you have like 10, 15, 20 minutes to like have some downtime with that. So really, we can do it from wherever we are, depending on our situation. We might have options of how we fit those in and when, and they don't have to be always traditional times that we're fitting them in. That's what I'm trying to say. There's like a little gnat flying around, and I don't want to be distracted grabbing it, but you know, that's what's happening. This is all real, right? And so bedtime really being more about also nap time, trying to catch those down times for your brain. 15 minutes is really all you need to just reset things, and it's amazing if you take that time that you can actually re-enter the world for the afternoon, and it feels like a fresh start for the day. So try that. You know, it's not always about having to sit with everyone at lunch and be polite and talk to all your coworkers. There's a time and place for that too, but depending on where we are, how our day is going, we really need to catch as much us time as we can. And so this is a good example of fitting it in. Then bump it up. So bump it up to the music wherever you're at. If you can dance it out. The Grey's Anatomy is another great show of mine. I love, like in the early seasons where you know, they're in the midst of all of the stress and chaos of being these new medical students, and they have this whole theme of like, we're gonna dance it out. and they just dance crazy and they let it all go to whatever song. And it's true. Music can raise your vibration. We talk about that in other episodes. It can raise the vibration of the atmosphere around you. It's just beautiful. It doesn't have to be a certain kind of music. It has to be the music that speaks to you, that speaks to your energy, to raise your energy, right? And so you can do that whenever you can. That's another thing you could do even on a lunch break if you're really busy and struggling with these times of like letting yourself settle and get grounded and clear, right? All of this can happen. It can be all together, like I said, the music with the bath. All of it can work together, or you can do it separately. It depends on what you want, what you need. But music is great for raising your vibration and just encouraging you. You can get messages through music. I just cannot talk about it enough. So explore music and how it serves you and see how you feel better after you've listened to it, all right? So one of my favorite of the 7 things I'm sharing. And then cooking. If you hate cooking, skip over this part. It's not going to speak to you. If you love cooking, then you already know this can be a great downtime. You can get into the energy of cooking for your soul. Like it can be like soul food for you, or it can be that you just love, really, really health conscious people. They love like food prepping. I live with one of those. And so, he loves to food prep. Like he loves to make it and see it and have it all organized out and know that he's got like really good food for his soul, the way that he needs it ready to go. It doesn't have to wait on me to cook it all the time, because you're going to be waiting sometimes, right? And plus I am in a house with, what is there, like 6 of us? Yeah, so it's like everyone's got a different idea of food and cooking and what that needs to look like. So ironically, I love to cook, but I love to do it in an intuitive way. Shocking, right? Like when I say intuitive cooking, that's what I'm encouraging you to try, because it's like not following a recipe. It's those people who know what I'm talking about now, where you don't ever look at the back of the box. You're just like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of oil, maybe an egg, whatever. And you're just really intuitively going by what you feel to do to cook whatever it is you're making. And then sometimes it's disastrous, but most of the time, if you're following intuitively kind of the idea of what you're trying to make here, it can be really fun, like so fun that it almost feels like a special little potion that you're making, because it's really hard to replicate, right? I do things all the time, and when the family like finally agrees, oh my gosh, as a whole we really love this, it's the one time that I did it intuitively and I just can't replicate it, and they get so mad. It's really hilarious. Like, you just made it last week, why can't you do it the same? And it's like, I don't know, it was like in the moment. But when I can really be allowed to just cook for like fun, for downtime, and I can do it from that intuitive place, it's really cool, and it's a great relaxation for me. I love to see all the people that I love eating. That's the Southern girl in me. We like to feed our men and feed our babies and feed our friends. We like to feed everybody. So I love to see that, and that's how it fuels my soul. It's how it will, it made the list of one of my top 7 things to do, all right? And then on the telling of cooking and liking to eat, I can't space over exercise, right? But I want to stress here, we hear exercise, we hear diet. A lot of us struggle with it. I have been one that has struggled with it my whole life until I just found what worked for me. Yoga really works for me. It doesn't raise cortisol levels. We're going to talk about that in more detail with different episodes, but to really just highlight why these are on my list and why they might help you, I'm gonna just kind of give you some key points. And that is one big one with yoga, is it doesn't raise your cortisol levels. Unlike weightlifting and some of these more intense types of exercise, which I also really enjoy. I like weightlifting. I did CrossFit for a while and I loved the competition of it, but my body did not love it. It really really took a toll on me. You could see people getting in fantastic shape with it, and I am just a little bit more of a sensitive body, sensitive soul, and I have to watch different things. I have a lot of, you know, food intolerances, and my body's no different on the way that it has to stay in shape. So I need to find these exercises that help me feel healthy while also not like destroying my physical shell. Okay, and so you have to find the same. If you're doing something that makes you really hate exercise right now, that's your first clue. It's not feeding your soul. And we have millions of options of how to keep this physical body in shape, to keep the car in shape so the soul can drive, the driver has its vehicle, all of those great things. If you didn't see that episode, watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, we have many options, but we get stuck in the rut of like, it has to be the gym, or it has to be the gym and this, or it's gonna be nothing, because we end up hating everything that we've tried, but we haven't like necessarily explored it all. So if you're in that place where exercise just makes you want to run away because I mentioned the word, then figure out what it is that can serve. If it's a walk every day outside, that's amazing. Get outside, get your fresh air, get your vitamin D, you know, do it barefoot, get in the grass and get grounded, like we talk about, like really just walking barefoot. This girl right here, I own about 1 million flip-flops and 2 pairs of real shoes. Like, as long as I can be without socks and be barefoot, I am a happy, happy girl. If you make me feel all confined with socks and shoes, I get angry. And there is like a reason for that. It's energetic. I like to feel the earth beneath my feet, or have like as little barrier as possible, right, with my flip-flops. So if you are if any of that speaks to you, if you're in that kind of category, being outside and just enjoying that energy and walking, just walking is amazing for not messing with your hormones or raising your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a big one that we all just like ignore, or we just have no grasp on what to do with it. And if you just exercise to keep yourself healthy, let the rest fall in place. If you're doing it in a way that speaks to you and doesn't stress you out, that's your first clue that you're probably not stressing out your body. You're not stressing out those hormones that turn on when you're in this fight or flight mode, because you're throwing up 50 pounds or 100 pounds over what you should be, thinking that that's what you got to do because that's the only answer for being in shape. All right, it's not the only way. Everything has multiple ways, right? You just have to discover them for you. And so yoga is great for that. If you are one of those yoga haters thinking it's for the weak, then you've never done yoga, when you have to do a whole session of holding up your own body weight and positions that most people will never be able to get in flexibility wise, and it's just really, really beautiful. And then finding something else that you just love that doesn't have to feel like exercise. So finding a hobby that's maybe physical. For me, it's martial arts. Those are the exercises I talk about that still get you all riled up and probably aren't serving my hormones very well, but I love it. I love hitting and kicking. I love punching people and punching bags. You can see my face lights up. So my partner, huge since childhood lover of martial arts. It's how we met. Lots of things there that make it important to me, but it literally saved my life. If you ever listen to the Diaries of the Medium series, where I share more details about my near-death experience, I really came back from all of that by having a love of martial arts and having it as an outlet. And so knowing that I love to do that, it's not exercise anymore. It's become, you know, part of who I am. So it's like when I don't do it, I am feeling like I'm missing something. I gotta get to it. You know, part of me is not being fed. And then you get the bonus of it being a physical release. So I probably spent way too much time on exercise, but I wanted to make it really clear that there is a way that we can all tap into it. It can be a simple walking outside in nature, taking a hike, to you know, something more extreme like punching and kicking, right? And then last but not least is all about the connection. So reaching out and talking to people. Find that friend that you can talk to, or just taking time to talk to your partner at the end of the day. God knows that is the hardest one for me to do in my life. There are days where both of us are like separate paths, same kind of vision, and we're like, I don't even know. Like, I needed to tell you this 7 days ago and I forgot what it was, and I guess, you know, when it matters, it'll come back to me. I mean, it's really hard sometimes when you're juggling a lot of balls in the air, having all those titles that you're obligated to do this one, but it's so important to get that, and not just from your partner, but from friendships, to reach out those connections, make time for it. My friends, I am so blessed in my life because I am one of those that you know, feel like a horrible friend most of the time for not reaching out. And if I didn't have the amazing women in my life that I do, that will hunt me down and stalk me and make me like set a date to talk. I have one friend who's amazing at this. She's another Gemini, you know who you are. And if we did not like make a date literally on the calendar to just have a conversation, it would never happen. And yet she's one of my closest soul ties. Like, she's the wild card in my life, the person I just happened across through different random circumstances of my kid being friends with her kid, and you know, that happens all the time, and it doesn't always just blossom into the moms being these crazy close friends. And this was a wild card that I am so grateful for, and she's one of those. We will schedule it, we'll make it happen. And so you know, encourage you to do that in your life now. If you're having trouble maintaining those relationships, going to get coffee and having an actual date could be hard to maintain, but a quick phone call isn't. So we can figure those out. You can send a text and say, I love you, I'm thinking about you, hugs, you know, whatever, and initiate contact, whatever you got to do to stay connected. So staying connected is huge. I think we learned that from 2020 and how much it taught us that isolation does not serve our human experience very well, all right? As much as some of us would like to live alone on a deserted island somewhere, you know, I have a whole vision of that. I think about it a lot. I probably think about it on a daily basis at some point, like a deserted island, and the rock comes in and he's like fanning you like the queen that you are, and he's giving you grapes and serving you breakfast and asking how he can help you next, like all of those things. That's my deserted island, and you know, my mind has to go there to survive some days. And so, you know, we're all connected, no matter how far we think we are in of like wanting to be on a deserted island. When we get faced with that, like 2020, that, oh my gosh, we have to be alone for a while, we have to be quarantined. God forbid that we would ever hear that word in our real life, like in this lifetime. Now it's just like a norm to hear it. You know, every other week with a kid at school, you're probably getting quarantined. And so, you know, all of that shifted, and we realized, I'm speaking from experience, that even us most like the biggest loners that love to be just us and not deal with all the energies, we still needed that connection. And so I learned a lot from last year on the value of my friendships and connections outside of the people that I share a home with. Right? So that is why it is huge on my list to reach out, talk or text, but preferably, you can see my face here, talk, because I get really tired of texting. We're losing human connection through messages. Like, just talk to another human. That's what I'm saying, all right? So I hope you enjoyed my 7 top favorite things. There are plenty more to come that we'll talk about different parts of the Paige show. Hopefully this sparks some ideas for you on what your 7 things could be. And until we do it again, take care of yourself.